The story of the Prophet Yahya who opposed King Herod. Prophet Yahya was also given orders by God to teach a lesson as well as awaken one of the kings. The king is the king who reigns in the city of Jerusalem. The empire is the empire created by the Romans. It is said that the king had the intention to marry one of the women who was still related, namely his own niece. Marrying a nephew is something that is forbidden by Allah. In fact, it is stated in the Torah that nephews are still related by blood. He is a close relative and also his marm. Thus, it is not permissible to marry a nephew even if he is a king. The king is King Herod, who feels deeply in love with his nephew. He felt attracted by the beauty of his niece named Herodias. In fact, the king already knew very well that marrying his own nephew was something that was forbidden in the teachings of the Torah. But apparently, his nephew was willing to be proposed by the king. In the story of the Prophet Yahya, King Herod's intention to marry his niece had actually been warned by interpreters in the kingdom. However, both of them still insisted on getting married. Thus, the Prophet Yahya, who gave advice and reprimands, was completely ignored by the king. One day, Prophet Yahya came to the palace to remind the king. But it turns out that he made Herodias sad and even cried. This made the king furious. Finally, he gave orders to the troops to capture and kill Prophet Yahya. When he was arrested, the Prophet Yahya did not put up any resistance at all because he had been protected by Allah. Prophet Yahya was then taken by the guards to get the death sentence. Seeing this, Herodias begged the king to bring the head of the Prophet Yahya after being beheaded. However, after this event, a very painful torment was revealed by Allah to the king and his family, where they are changed no longer in human form, but in animal form. The story of Prophet Yahya is a valuable lesson for all of us. The story of the Prophet Yahya dead beheaded. Hearing that the king was going to marry his own brother, the Prophet Yahya finally issued a fatwa. The essence of the fatwa is to forbid the type of marriage that will be carried out by the king. He did this because the Prophet Yahya was a brave figure. However, he believed that sibling marriage was against the teachings and should be annulled. Because of the fatwa issued, the king's wedding plan with his nephew finally became the talk of the community. Many gossip about this, ranging from those who oppose to those who support. Very quickly, the fatwa issued by the Prophet Yahya spread and eventually reached royal circles. Hearing this, Herodias, who had the ambition to become queen, was very angry with the Prophet Yahya. He felt that Yahya had really hindered his dreams. In fact, these ideals have been planned long ago. And another reason is that Herodias felt that she had been humiliated in front of the people of the Prophet Yahya. Because of this fatwa, Herodias felt that her name had been tarnished and she was being scrutinized by many people. Not to mention he was worried if the king changed his mind and was influenced so that he cancelled his marriage. Therefore, she immediately made plans so that her marriage to the king could be carried out immediately. She did various things, including by taking advantage of her beauty. Then, Herodias decorated herself in the best possible way. That way, she will look more beautiful and make anyone who sees her amazed. She wore various types of beautiful accessories and then used a thin type of clothing. Shortly after that, he went straight to the king to carry out his plan. Herodes finally felt stunned and attracted by the beauty possessed by Herodias. He also asked Herodias to come see him. He also said he would fulfill all of Herodias' requests. Finally, Herodias made her wish. He explained how currently the two of them were being talked about by many people, and that cost him the honor. In the story of the Prophet Yahya, he also added that it was the act of Yahya who made a fatwa. Next, he asked the king to punish and kill Yahya. Next brought Yahya's head before him. This wish was confirmed by the king, whose mind was blinded by love. He felt very infatuated with Herodias. Because he no longer used his common sense, he finally did what his future wife asked him to do. He then sent a number of troops to kill Yahya. Finally, Yahya was caught and killed according to Herodias' request. The troops beheaded the Prophet Yahya, then brought it to the king. The king finally presented the head to Herodias. Finally, Herodias felt proud because the mission she carried out was really successful. She felt that all her missions were successful and that soon she would become queen. However, before that happened, they were both rewarded by Allah to death. Prophet Yahya's body was buried in the Syrian Umayyad mosque. His death left many people feeling lost. In fact, Prophet Yahya was a very kind, gentle and wise figure. Today, his tomb is known as the Great Mosque of Damascus. There are many lessons that can be drawn from the story of Prophet Yahya. The Prophet Yahya taught humans to oppose evil and uphold the truth even though it was bitter. And all is the power of Allah, where He can do whatever He wants. Even if it is something that is somewhat impossible.